want to learn what is cyber threats, we also need to understand what is the meaning of the word of cyber. In the 1950s, the word cyber referred to cybernetics, the science of understanding the control and movement of machines and animals. This was followed by cyber, standing for computerized. A new cyber related phrase emerged in the 1990s. The term cyberspace was used to describe a made up physical space that some individual believe existed behind the electrical activity of computers. So, understanding cyber security aspects, we also need to learn what are the cyber security challenges. And if we want to learn what are the cyber security challenges, we need to study about the cyber threats. So, let us understand threats to your businesses. So, in this diagram, we will learn threats to your online presence and your businesses. Man in the middle attack, phishing, drive-by downloads, ransomware, rogue software, DDoS, password attacks, crypto locker, document theft, data breach, personal data loss and information theft, and the most important, the IP theft. These kind of cyber attacks has been used by attackers not only steal your information, but they can remotely access your all data, your all infrastructure for conducting cyber attack. So, remember, if you understand and learn these aspects, you can overcome this cyber issue. So, friends, now understand what is modern cyber threats. Today, the phrase is virtually solely used to refer to issue of information security. We have turned to picturing the digital phenomena as a physical occurrence, since it is difficult to see how digital signals passing across a cable might represent an attack. So, considering these cyber threats, we also need to consider few aspects, and in this diagram we can see the circle of cyber threats over here. Whenever we become a victim of cyber attack, we always feel threats around us, but this threats is not only about coding, it is about coding about malware. Malware, malicious software that corrupts data or takes over a system on a target device or a network. So, this malware always remain present in your email, in your messages, in your devices, hiddenly. So, an email based attack in which the email receiver is tricked into giving a private information or downloading a malware by clicking on a link in the messages. So, be aware, phishing attack is spreaded over the world. Let us understand how the phishing mail looks like. This mail consists of virus of malware, and how you can recognize this malware? The malware introducer sends you a simple mail with the consist of link. If you able to see this link consists of malware viruses. This common practice is used by attacker and hacker to manipulate your conversation between you and the sender. Most of the time, this link consists malware. You can prevent it in such a way. Sparing phishing. So, now learn and take a deep dive in phishing attack. Spear phishing, a more advanced kind of phishing in which the attacker gathers information about the target and impersonates someone they know and they trust. So, whenever you found this spear phishing, just look into the mail and the details which have been written on your desktop. Let us understand man in the middle attack. An attacker takes up a position between the sender and the recipient of electronic messages and intercepts them, sometimes modifying them, alter them while they are in a route. Most of the time, I have seen the online tendering process, online examination process, or wherever the online sender and receiver messages has been manipulated, has been altered, has been destroyed, has been modified by this man in the middle attacker. And this manipulation most of the conducted by attacker to manipulate the recipients. So, both the sender and the recipient feel they are conversating directly to each other, but it is not happening like that, because man in the middle attack is there to play a vital role to disturb your conversation, to divert your direction, not only diverting your direction, but also they are manipulating your conversations. In the military, a man in the middle attack might be used to mislead an opponent. So, this fact needs to know that if you are become a victim of man in the middle attack, we need to consider this aspect, whether the receiver's mail is corrected and whether the sender mail is corrected. So, let us learn new virus which is known as the Trojan. The Trojan is a sort of malware that enters a target system appearing like something else, such as a regular piece of software, but then release dangerous code once inside the host system. It is named after the Trojan horse of ancient Greek history. Mostly, I have found the Trojan attack while conducting remote access process. For customer care services, if we give the remote access of our system to the customer care supporter, it is a possibility that person can manipulate and send you Trojan horse where your system remotely accessed and monitored and manipulated by the attacker. So, be aware that you should not become a victim of Trojan attack. Let us understand the popular virus which is known as a ransomware. An attack in which data on the target machine is encrypted and ransom is demanded in return for the user regaining access to the data. These assaults can vary from minor annoyance to major crisis, like as the 2018 lockdown of the whole city of Atlanta's municipal government's data. Most of the time the ransomware asked in a Bitcoin, and be aware, if some person block your files and asked you for the Bitcoin, you need to know that this is ransomware attack which you become a victim of. Let us understand denial of service attack or disturbed denial of service attack, which is known as a DDoS attack. When attacker gains a control of large number of devices, perhaps thousands, and uses them to activate the functionalities of targeted system, such as a website, causing it to crash due to a demand overload. Attacks on IoT devices. Industrial sensors, for example, are subject to variety of cyber attacks. Hacker might take a control of the device and use it in DDoS attack, or they could get unauthorized access to data collected by the devices. IoT devices are a prime target for malicious actors due to their sheer quantity, geographically dispersal, and usually out of date operating system. Most of the time operating system has been outdated, and outdated operating system has been targeted by attacker for conducting DDoS attack. Data breach occur when a bad entity steals data. Crime or desires to shame on organizations. While considering all viruses and types of cyber attacks, we also need to consider the data security, and whenever the system has been compromised, the data breach also can happen. A data breach occurs when a bad entity steals data. A desires to shame on organizations. I have seen in many examples, and espionages are all the reasons for data breaches. Now learn malware on mobile apps. Friends, we need to consider when we are using our mobile for daily, official and personal activity, it can be targeted by attacker through the malware. So, let us learn how the attacker can target your device and can take a remote access of your all information. So, let us understand what is the malware which are hidden in your mobile apps. Mobile devices, like other computer hardware, are subject to malware assaults. Malware may be included in app downloads, mobile websites, phishing emails and text messages by attacker. A mobile device can remotely accessed by attacker for stealing your personal information, your location data, your bank accounts and many more your personal sensitive information which can be compromised through mobile apps. If you are not able to update your apps and update your security patches of your apps, the malware can take a remote access of your device and your information through this malware of mobile apps. Cyber threats come from variety of places, people, contexts. Malicious actors include individuals that create attack vectors using their own software tools. Criminals organizations that are run like a corporation with a large number of employees, developing attack vectors and executing attacks. Most of the time I have seen the cyber security is having a coding, and if we want to breach that code, we need to have the breaching code itself. So, wherever we see the cyber security coding is established by human, it is also breached by human while creating the disturbing coding for the cyber security aspects. So, most of the criminal organizations having their infrastructure to decode all the encryption bars and create a barriers for cyber security aspects. So, various nation states, territories, industrial spices, organized crime groups, unhappy insiders, hackers, business competitor can target you, your infrastructure, your security aspects, though you have the firewall settings at your place. They can target you, they can decrypt your system, and they can take a remote access by various means. If we want to control these cyber security threats, we should have the perfect cyber security infrastructure at our place to understand the attack vectors. So, if we want to understand the attack vectors and their using own software tools, we need to create few barriers and create a few tools where we cannot be targeted by the attacker. In this video, what we have learned? We have learned various types of malware, we have learned security infrastructure, we also understand the security aspects and cyber security threats. Though we have a security coding at our place, but we need to establish the security aspects for the learners, because most of the time none of system is fully protected unless we protect with the full cautious and precautions. If we want to overcome the cyber incident in our organization and for our digital presence, we need to consider the human has to learn how to respond these attacks. So, if we want to learn this, we need to consider the cyber security aspects along with cyber threats. Thank you.